place this. Do you see what that just did? Hey guys, welcome back to the Clean Beauty Code. I'm so excited for this video because we're doing a new makeup video. We're doing the makeup look on my face today, and it is so good, this makeup look. And I know that sounds crazy because it's like, okay, it's basic, but it is so incredible. The products shocked me beyond anything, especially we got new bronzer, new highlight that just so exceeded my expectations. It's actually bananas, but I would love to know down below what new launches. I know there's going to be a bunch of new launches. I know people are going to be asking about new concealers. There's a new, the RMS foundation that launched. I know you guys are going to be asking about that, but anything else that you want me to review, any makeup looks, any types of videos you want, let me know down below. I love to hear from you guys. And yeah, I just want to jump into this video and get started. So if you're excited for this video and more videos like this, then please like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this full face of new makeup. New makeup, let's jump right in. I'm really excited. Brows are already on because we have no new brow products. Now we're moving to complexion. And I was so excited to get my hands on this product. We have a new foundation skin tint stick. They call it a skin tint foundation stick from LYS Beauty, and I got the shade TN6, which is the same shade I have in their liquid foundation. But when I was picking a shade, I saw that Glam Girl Chelsea, who's another creator here on YouTube, she was in the shade TN6, and you guys always tell me that when I've gotten the wrong foundation shade or shade of something, you guys have always told me, and by you guys, all of you, just a handful of you always tell me that I should just get the shade that Glam Girl Chelsea has. So, and every single time, you're right, because we are so similar in complexion and what foundation shades we use. So when in doubt, if you are my complexion and you're wondering, oh, it's a foundation maybe I haven't talked about, or you're not sure what shade I would get, check her out because she'll give you the right shade in that foundation. Anyways, I digress. So this is the foundation stick. I was really excited. I wasn't really sure what to expect, if it was going to be more on the dewy side or something like that. I'm going to do a little swatch in the back of my hand from you. So this is the shade TN6, and I feel like this is a pretty decent shade match, especially for my body. My face is a lot lighter than my body, so we're going to just do some swipes. And I know this looks really dark. At first when I did it, I was like, oh, this is going to be too dark, but it actually isn't, surprisingly. Even though it looks like it is, it does match my body pretty well. So then I'm going to take this brush here. This is a back of a hourglass brush that I broke, and we're just going to blend it out with this brush. We are blended. What do you guys think of the finish, even of the shade match? I love the finish of this. I find that, so I did my regular skin prep, and I find that this has more of a natural finish, at least on my skin type. I have combo skin, so in my T-zone, I'm oily, but the rest, I'm kind of normal. Occasionally, I'll get dry spots from just hyperpigmentation and acne, just kind of the leftover remnants, but for the most part, I am very much more on the outsides of my face, or the cheeks and everything, more normal. Now, I find that this has a nice medium coverage. It does cover up. I have a little bit of hyperpigmentation here, and I have some on my chin, especially right here, and it does cover up a decent amount, but it isn't a full coverage product, which I don't mind. If I want a little bit more coverage, which I'm gonna do right now just to show you, I'll take my finger, and right where, do you see right here? I'm just going to place this right there, and then just tap kind of it in and just focus on that area. Sometimes I'll let it sit if I want to do that, but it gives, look at that, it gives nice, decent coverage, and that hyperpigmentation has faded a good amount, but it's still very much there. I also have some on my chin, especially right here, and I do have a little bit here that I have just like a little bit of remnants that I can, if I want to cover it up, let's do that just so you guys can see. Cover it up. I just find that it gives really, really nice additional coverage if you just kind of spot put it. But when you get close to a mirror, my hair looks insane. I need to wash it. When you get close to a mirror, you're not like, oh, she's wearing a lot of makeup, which is really nice. It looks very, very skin-like on the skin and doesn't look apparent, in my opinion, especially when you blend it with a brush or your fingers. I blended it with a sponge. I like blending it with a sponge, but I prefer either fingers or brush with this one. Again, I find this to be more of a medium coverage product. I find it to be more of a natural finish, but I like the way that it wears, even though I have combo skin, so I'm oily in my T-zone and kind of more normal on my cheeks, unless I have hyperpigmentation or an acne mark that's a little bit just dry and crusties, you know, those are the worst. Then I have a little bit more dryness on my cheeks, but for the most part, natural. I don't find that I get too dewy in my T-zone, which is amazing. I really like the way that this wears and all of that. I'm not gonna put any powder on until the end of the video, so you can really see the way that this wears in hot studio lights and all of that. Now we're gonna move on to concealer, and we're just gonna do the Cool Feet concealer right here. I'm not gonna put too much right now. We're gonna put a little bit of this, let this sit for about a minute, blend it out, and then we're gonna move on to our new bronzer. Okay, it's been about a minute, so I'm gonna blend it out with this brush here. This is an Hourglass concealer brush. Now we're moving on to a new bronzer, and it is this one from Ilia. I was so excited to get my hands on this. This is the shade Rise in their cream bronzer. If you've watched this channel for a while, you know that I really, really like their powder bronzer, and this one is just such a beautiful shade. I was very excited to get my hands on this. So again, this is the shade Rise. I'm gonna do a swatch for you guys. I'm just do it right here. This is the shade Rise. It's a very pretty shade. I feel like it's the perfect kind of bronzy tone without it being orangey. I don't know, I'm a really big fan. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this, put it on the back of my hand, even though you can just take a brush and dip in, but I just prefer to kind of put stuff on the back of my hand and then apply it with a brush. So we're gonna use this brush here. We're gonna just dip in to the product I put in the back of my hand and just lightly apply. Look how stunning that shade is. It is exactly what I want a bronzer to be, where it is bronzy enough and gives me dimension, but it isn't so bronze that it looks kind of funky or like I'm wearing something so much more dark than my complexion. I just want my natural complexion to just be bumped up and have a little bit of dimension. Now I'm going to take a little bit of what's left on the back of my hand and just pull it down the sides of my nose. And then we're just going to blend it out with the other side of the brush. I really, really like this bronzer, and the reason I like it is because it has like a sheen, but it isn't glittery or anything. I wouldn't even call it shimmery. I feel like it has just like a sheen to it, if that makes sense. I don't know if you can tell, or even on my face. It just has a really nice sheen. I like that it doesn't get patchy. I've tested it on top of a bunch of different foundations and skin tints. I don't find that it gets patchy. This shade is absolutely stunning. Oh my gosh, this is like the shade that you want, especially if you're my complexion, maybe a little bit lighter, where it gives you that vacation look without it being like, whoa, she's wearing a lot of bronzer. This is just absolutely beautiful. It wears really, really nicely throughout the day. I don't find that it patches off. It just kind of fades really, really naturally. And by the end of the day, I do still feel like I have it on. And I don't feel like it's looking muddy or anything like that, because sometimes bronzers can look a little bit muddy after a long day of wear, if that makes sense. You'll have to let me know what you think of the tone, of the finish, all of that. I really like it. Again, I got the shade Rise. I believe there's one more deeper than this one, but I'm a really, really big fan of this. Now we're gonna move on to the eyes really quick before we go on with a new blush, because I wanna give this bronzer a second to settle down. So we're gonna go on the eyes with the same bronzer that we used. And I'm just gonna take my finger and look at that beautiful sheen it gives my eyelids. It's just gorgeous. And as you can see, it really is a sheen. It gives a nice, almost, I don't know how to explain it. It feels like, oh, is it glittery? But then when you get close to the mirror, it just looks like there's a sheen. I don't know if you've ever used the Hourglass powders, and kind of sometimes some of them have that like sheen where when you get up close, it doesn't look like it's like really doing much in terms of sheen. But when you look at yourself, you're like, oh, this looks really healthy and it has a nice sheen. This kind of reminds me of that in the sense of that same kind of, oh, her eyelids look really healthy. Oh, she looks really something, but you can't quite put your finger on it when you get close to a mirror. It's actually very interesting. So then I'm going to take this brush here and I'm going to just dip in and I'm going to pull it on my lower lash line. I just love this. I love the tone of this. Now we're going to move on to an eyeliner really quick. We're going to take the new Kosas eyeliner. I've reviewed this in a previous video, and we're going to tightline. Then I'm going to take a little bit and just get really close to the lash line. Not too much. I don't want a lot of eyeliner today, but I do want just a little bit of something. Now we're moving on to our new blush, and it is this one from Live Tinted. It's their Hue Glow blush, and I got the shade Emotionally Unavailable, which, hilarious, love that name. And I was going to get something more mauve-y because it's getting colder and I prefer mauve tones in cool, like, weather, but this shade just was speaking to my soul, so I had to get it. This is the shade. Look how beautiful that is, and I'm just going to spread it out just so you can see. Look how beautiful that is. It is just such a beautiful shade, and for days where you want to be a little bit more summer flushed, I feel like this is a great shade. The way I like to apply it is I've done it with my fingers. I prefer a brush. I prefer a brush or a sponge, just because I feel like I just like the way that the application is. So I'm taking a little bit on the back of my hand on this brush. I'm being very light with it. I don't want to take too much because the first time I used this, I made that mistake and it was way too much product. What's nice about this is it's easy to build up. Look how beautiful that is. Oh, look how beautiful that is. It's just so stunning. It's really easy to build up and it really does last really, really well. It has a nice finish to it. I would say it's more on the dewy side, but it's not super dewy where you're like, oh no, I made a mistake. It is more on the dewy, flushed, kind of youthful cheek look, but it isn't so dewy that you feel like you're wet by the end of the day. At least on my skin type, I don't feel wet by the end of the day. And there are some blushes that are dewy where by the end of the day I'm like, okay, we're looking a little cray. And then I'm going to just take whatever's left on the brush and pull it down my nose just to kind of keep the sun-kissed vibes going. Now I'm going to let this blush sit for a second and we're going to go on with mascara before we go back to the cheeks and go on with our new powder as well. We're going on with this mascara from LYS Beauty, which you know is the love of my freaking life. And we're going to apply mascara and we're going to do 2 coats on the top. Mascara's on. I did a coat on the bottom lashes. Now we're going to move on to highlighter. First of all, I'm obsessed with how this makeup is turning out. What do you guys think of the makeup look so far? It's very goddessy. It's very Tahiti. I don't know. It's giving me like the most bronzy, fresh from the beach look. I'm obsessed with it. Anyways, I digress. Now we're moving on to a new highlighter, and it is the highlighter that came out with the Ilia bronzer. This is the highlighter. I got the shade Arc in this one, and this is the shade. I'm obsessed with this, and I'm going to show you so you can see the, because I feel like it'll be easier to see with this one, the sheen this gives you, not like glitter. I don't know how to explain it. If you have the opportunity to swatch this in person, do it. So this is what it looks like, and when you get up close, it doesn't look like it has glitter in it. It also doesn't look shimmery. it just has a sheen. I don't know how to explain it. It is really, really pretty. I got the shade just because I felt like I also wanted to wear it on the inner corner of my eyes, and I like something a little bit more bright with that. I'm going to take just a touch on my fingertip, and I'm just going to apply it. I just love that. It's such a beautiful highlight. And what I love about this, and this is something that you have to go and try in person and see. You'll have to let me know if you agree with me. It is so thin. So like when you get up close to a mirror, it doesn't look like you're wearing crazy makeup or anything like that. I don't know how to explain it. It's so thin, like even here, it looks like nothing when you get up close. It's a very interesting formula, and the bronzer is the same way, where it's like you're wearing makeup, but then when you get close to a mirror, it really, really doesn't look like there is anything there. It is very interesting. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I feel like sometimes when you use cream highlighters, they aren't so thin. This kind of, the thinness of this and the way that it kind of disappears into the skin in terms of texture wise reminds me of the Minori highlighter, which you know I'm obsessed with, because it just, you know she's wearing something, but also when you get close, you're like, where'd it go? You know what I mean? This, it kind of has that same disappearing act, but still packs a punch. It's amazing. I really, really like this. Very, very, these two are currently in my kind of vanity area where I keep stuff, because I have been so impressed specifically with the formula, but also the shades are beautiful, but the formula is so amazing. And I'm definitely going to be grabbing these a ton in fall when it's colder out and I want something with maybe some dew, but I don't want it to be too much. These are going to be, these are them. Now we're moving on to our new powder, the Tower 28 one. You guys were really excited about this one. So this is their Get Set powder. I got the pink shade just because I had to. I don't know why. It was just calling to me. And I wanted something that could brighten just like right here a little bit extra. And so I had to get my hands on this one, but they have 4 shades total, a more like a true translucent one that would work for everyone, the pink one that's kind of for light to medium skin tones, then a more yellow one which is for more medium dark, and then one that works for really like deep dark skin tones. And I was really excited to try this out because it just looked so beautiful. What I'm gonna do, I'm just take a brush and then just kind of make sure that I don't have too much on the brush, and I'm just going to, do you see what that does? Did you see that? I hope that you could see how much that kind of mattified. I really like this formula because it doesn't feel uncomfy on my skin. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Charlotte Tilbury powder, where it mattifies, it does what it needs to do, but you're not feeling like crunchy. I really like that about this. Just look at, okay, we're gonna do right here. And I'm just gonna place this. Do you see what that just did? Isn't that wild? We're just gonna pull a little bit underneath the eye. Isn't that so impressive with how it just kind of, it almost, it does this like kind of blurring thing. And I'm gonna just, look at that. That is very impressive, in my opinion at least. Because I feel like some powders don't give you a blur, but they do suck the life out of your under eyes. This one doesn't do that, and I really appreciate that because I cannot handle, we're gonna get the stash, I cannot handle just really crepey, crunchy under eyes. I have really sensitive under eyes, at least I feel like I do, and so because of that, I feel like that a lot of powders don't work for me. The one thing I will say is I know that a lot of people are going to complain about this. It does not have a mirror. It just makes it more recyclable if it doesn't have a mirror. At least that's what I think. So it doesn't bother me that there isn't a mirror, but if you want something with a mirror, this might not be for you unless you just have a little mirror in your bag. I just carry a mirror with me, like a little mini one. But if you want something in a compact with a mirror, this just doesn't come with that. Now what I want to do is I want to show you this powder. I'm gonna take a powder puff, I'm gonna dip in. This is what's on the back. This looks terrifying. This is so scary looking because you're like, okay, you're gonna look like Casper the Ghost. We're not. I'm gonna take it off on the back of my hand. Anytime you do a powder puff, take excess product off on the back of your hand, and then you're just gonna set. And I just want you to see what that does to the under eye. And then when you get close to a mirror, it doesn't look really makeup-y or anything like that, which I really appreciate, which is also why it reminds me of the Charlotte Tilbury powder, which I know so many people love, which I totally get because it sets your makeup. It doesn't really look cakey. It kind of, if there's something funky happening with your under eyes, whether it's for whatever reason your concealer didn't work really well with your eye cream or something and there's a little bit of pilling or whatever, sometimes just doing that with a powder on a powder puff, stamping it on your lower eyes really will kind of rectify that problem, which is really nice. And this kind of does that same thing that the Charlotte Tilbury does, at least for me. This is really nice. I enjoy it a lot. I like the way that it mattifies, but it doesn't mattify to the point where I'm feeling like I'm looking flat, if that makes sense, but it did such a good job. I mean, look at what my skin looked like before and now. I was we're in hot studio lights right now, and I am in a sweater because for whatever reason, I don't want to look naked when I film, so I wear a sweater or something where you can kind of see that I'm wearing a shirt because I like to pull my camera in close, but this is just great. And then I will set my face with setting spray if I want. Today I'm not going to do that, but set my face with setting spray. Sometimes I'll set my face with setting spray before I put powder on, then do powder, then set my face with setting spray again, and that is like the perfect sandwich for makeup never moving. I really, really enjoy this powder, and this is one I was not really expecting to love because I am definitely a little bit more critical of powders. However, lately the LYS Beauty, which I really, really enjoy, and this one have really impressed me. What I will say is the LYS Beauty, their pink one, I got the pink one in that one as well. That one is way, way, way more pink than this one. It's definitely more on the pink side. This one is more of like a true, it's like translucent with a touch, like a hint of pink, whereas the LYS Beauty one is more on the pink side. So if you want something that's gonna marry your blush with your under eyes a little bit better, then go the LYS Beauty. That shade of pink will work really well. But this one, to me, is just like a translucent shade with a hint of pink to it, which I really enjoy, and it does do a really nice job of brightening. What do you guys think? What do you think of the makeup look? Now, what I want to do really quick is I want to do a quick roundup of my thoughts, but I want to do a lip first because I feel like I need to do a lip. So we're going to do the Jones Road Beauty lip liner, and this one is in the shade Cognac. Then I'm going to take Brown Sugar from Summer Fridays as my lip balm. Love that lip combo. It is so good. And with that cheek, and that eye, it is so good. Anyways, let's get into kind of final thoughts. I really enjoy this. And if I had to pick between this and the liquid, the LYS Beauty liquid foundation or the LYS Beauty stick foundation. The stick foundation is just, for me, more of a finish I like. I like the ease of use with this one. I really like the tone of TN6, which is also the shade I have in this one. I really enjoy kind of the natural finish that it has and the way that it works with other products. And it just, the medium coverage is beautiful. I don't know. This is a very uncomplicated product. It's really, really good. Now, when it comes to the new bronzer highlighters, I mean, these are already on my vanity. So obviously these are my obsessions. I love them. They are just so good. And I don't know, I just feel like, look at that highlight. Look at that bronze. Like that there isn't shimmer in these, but there is like a sheen. And I would love to know if you did swatch these, or if you're going to swatch them, what do you think of them in terms of the finish? Because I can't say that they're glittery. I can't say that they're truly shimmery. They just have a beautiful sheen to them, a glow, if you will. These are stunning. Then, of course, I really enjoy this. There is one that I believe is called, maybe it's called Magnetic. It's more of a mauve tone that I might pick up because I'm just loving mauves right now. But this is a beautiful blush. However, if you have other liquid blushes, like if you have the Say Beauty blushes, you might not need this one because I find them to be similar in terms of longevity and all of that. So this one is beautiful and I really enjoy this formula and I like the way this wears throughout, like all day. And we have this powder. And I mean, look at my face. What do you guys think? What do you think of the finish? It's not looking like, when I get close to a mirror, I'm not alarmed with the shade of the powder at all, but I'm not alarmed with cakiness or anything. It just looks really, really good. I would love to know what you guys think. If you have tried out the pink, what do you guys, actually, if you've tried this out in general, what do you think? But if you've tried the pink, what do you think? I really, really enjoy the way that this makeup is kind of wearing. Overall, I have been wildly impressed by all the products in this video. I would say the one that was maybe kind of expected, like to me, I just like thought it would be good, was the Live Tinted blush, and it lived up to exactly my expectations of what this would be, whereas everything else just outperformed my expectation. These are all incredible. And yeah, that's it for this video. That is it for this new makeup video. Leave a comment down below on what products you want me to review, all of that. I am already kind of grabbing a ton of stuff. I know that the Westman Atelier concealer is going to be asked, the Victoria Beckham Beauty concealer is going to be asked, and the new RMS launches that just came out. Those are all in the works. Those are all being worked on. But if there's anything else that you would like me to test out, let me know down below. And yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.